And here he returns back to Bethel. Verse 5 says, Lot also, who went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. Now, there hasn't been much said about Lot so far. We've just kind of seen his name throughout the story with Abram. Remember, Lot is Abram's nephew. And verse 6 says, Now the land was not able to support them, that they might dwell together, for their possessions were so great that they could not dwell together. And there was strife between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. The Canaanites and the Perizzites then dwelt in the land. If you remember from chapter 12, the reason Abram left the land of Canaan and went down to Egypt was because there was a famine in the land of Canaan. They've returned back to the land of Canaan now. And it's unlikely that the land has recovered from the famine. So they come back now. They've got huge flocks, both Abram and Lot. And they come back, and there's not enough pasture land for Abram's flocks and Lot's flocks. Plus, we're told there's also the Canaanites and the Perizzites that are dwelling in the land. So there's a lot of competition for what little grazing land is available. And verse 7 tells us, So there was strife between the herdsmen of Abram and the herdsmen of Lot. Now, if you remember the beginning of chapter 12, when God called Abram to leave Ur of the Chaldees, God told Abram to leave his family behind in Ur of the Chaldees, but Abram did not obey the Lord. He brought some of his family with him. So really, Lot isn't even supposed to be here. But Abram disobeyed, and he brought Lot, and now he has strife. If Abram would have obeyed God, he would have avoided this strife with his nephew. Obedience to the Word of God can spare you from so much unnecessary strife. If you just do what the Word of God says, you're going to eliminate so much strife and heartache in your life. So verse 8 now. So they have strife. Now watch what happens. This is amazing. I know you're on the edge of your seat right now. So they've got strife. So Abram said to Lot, Please let there be no strife between you and me and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we're brethren. Now watch what he says. Is not the whole land before you? What land is that? The promised land. Please separate from me. If you take the left, then I'll go to the right. If you go to the right, then I will go to the left. First of all, Abram sought to make peace with his nephew Lot. There's strife, and Abram sought to make peace. Jesus said, Blessed are the peacemakers. Abram was a peacemaker. There are many places in the Bible where we are commanded to pursue peace with others as believers and followers of Jesus Christ. Romans chapter 12, verse 18. Listen to what it says. If possible, so far as depends on you, you be at peace with all men. So far as it depends on you, you be at peace with all men. That means you do everything you can to make peace with that person. Everything that's in your power. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 14 says, Pursue peace with all men. Literally, run after peace, seek after peace with that other person. Pursue it. This command is the opposite of being passive or waiting for that other person to come to you to make peace with you. As followers of Jesus Christ, as disciples, we are told to pursue peace. Don't wait for them to pursue peace with you. You pursue peace with them. You go after peace. That's what Abram did here. He pursued peace with Lot. That's what Jesus Christ did with us. He pursued peace with us. We were the ones in the wrong. But He's the one who left heaven and came to us and offered Himself on the cross as a sacrifice for our sin to reconcile us. He pursued us. He pursued reconciliation and peace with us. Here, Abram is the one who initiated the conversation with Lot. He's the one who is pursuing peace with Lot. And I want you to look again at what he says in verse 9 to Lot. He says, "Is not the whole land before you? Please separate from me. If you take the left, then I will go to the right. You go to the right, then I will go to the left." This is really, truly remarkable what Abram says to Lot and this offer that he makes to Lot. And you have to understand really the cultural context to appreciate what's happening here in this chapter because it's so unusual. Abraham is the uncle. Abraham is the elder uncle. And more importantly, Abraham or Abram is the patriarch of the family. This Bedouin culture that they lived in was a patriarchal culture. And what that means is that Abram was the leader of the family. And Abram makes all of the decisions for the family. It's all up to Abram. Abram could have said to Lot, "Hey, Lot, it's been great. I've enjoyed our time together, but it's time for you to go. And all of this land right here, it all belongs to me. So you need to go find some other place to live. Bye, Felicia." That kind of thing. And just, I'm the patriarch. You got to go. And you got to go figure it out, and you got to go find some other place to live. That is what would have been normal. That is what would have been expected in that culture. That would have been the way Abram would have handled this strife as the patriarch of the family. Abram is in charge of the family, and what he says goes. He makes the decisions, and Lot has to just submit to that decision. But instead of pulling rank on Lot, Abram deferred to Lot. He deferred to Lot. And he said, "Lot, you can pick where you want to live, and I'll separate from you. And if you go to the left, I'll go to the right. If you go to the right, I'll go to the left. You just tell me where you want to go, and I'll go the opposite way. You decide." Now, Romans chapter 12, verse 10 says, "Give preference to one another." And Abram gave preference to Lot. He didn't have to. It wasn't really his place to. He's the patriarch, he's the elder. But Abram chose to give preference to Lot. "Lot, you choose what you want, and whatever land you choose, that'll be fine with me." Now, if you're like me, as you read this, you've got all kinds of alarms going off right now in your mind, and you're thinking, whoa, Abram, wait a minute. This is kind of a bad idea, Abram. I mean, Lot could really take advantage of your generosity. I mean, you're giving Lot a blank check here, and Lot could choose the best land for himself and leave you with the terrible land for your flocks. He could really do you wrong in this deal. You don't want to leave yourself open like that. You don't want to leave yourself vulnerable like this, especially when it comes to dealing with your family and dividing up property with your family. That can go south pretty quickly. I mean, you know how it is dealing with your family, especially when property is involved. Or worse, what if Lot chooses the promised land that God intended to give to Abram? What if he claims the land of Canaan? Abram, you're jeopardizing God's plan here by allowing Lot to make the choice. Abram, you're the patriarch of the family. You have the upper hand. You need to use that to your advantage. You need to make sure you get the best possible land for yourself, Abram. Don't give him that decision to make. What are you doing? Now, you know why Abram handles this thing this way? Because Abram trusted God. And that's such an important lesson for us. Abram trusted God. Abram generously defers to Lot, knowing God will take care of him no matter what happens, no matter what Lot chooses. Abram was confident in God, confident that nothing will stop God's sovereign plan for him.